é Besouro Suco?
Nunca diga esse nome, ouviu?
Besouro Suco.
Eu tô falando muito sério. Se disser o nome dele 3 vezes, coisas ruins vão acontecer.
Tipo o quê?
Besouro Suco.
Besouro Suco!
Besouro Suco!
O suco tá soltinho.
Em 5 de setembro,
Vambora com isso?
a espera
Partiu, novinha.
acabou.
Queremos agradecer a presença de todos nessa ocasião especial. Eu senti bem aqui.
Eca.
Garanta seu ingresso. Verifique a classificação indicativa.
Desfrute do novo Icon of the Seas da Royal Caribbean, agora partindo de Miami. É o ícone das férias repleto de atrações, com o maior parque aquático no mar e espetáculos sensacionais da Broadway. Com destinos incríveis no Caribe, incluindo a premiada ilha particular Perfect Day at Coco Cay, a aventura nunca acaba. Icon of the Seas, as melhores férias em família do mundo. Acesse royalcaribbean.com/BRA. Aplicam-se termos e condições.
I didn't let it go. He pulled it so tight he was choking himself, and he pulled his neck through the collar.
Oh, so your dog really went after those dogs?
Yes, it's because...
your dog really wanted to get there.
This is the plaintiff, Thomas Holly. He says he went to a dog-friendly restaurant with his 2 huskies, and the defendant's dog freaked out and charged at his dog, Sheba, grabbing her by the neck. As he was breaking them up, the defendant's dog bit him on the finger. The defendant told him to send her the bills, which he did, and then she ignored him. So he's suing for $944.53, the amount he's owed. This is the defendant, Lilith Fernandez. She says she was sitting outside with her dog when the plaintiff walked in with his 2 misbehaved dogs and immediately came over to her table, and her dog defended himself. The rude plaintiff had the nerve to curse her out. This whole thing was his fault, and she owes him nothing. She's accused of failing to control her dog.
All parties, please raise your right hand.
What you are about to witness is real. The participants are not actors. They are actual litigants with a case pending in civil court. Both parties have agreed to drop their claims and have their cases settled here before Judge Marilyn Milian in our forum, the People's Court.
People's Court is now in session. The Honorable Judge Marilyn Milian is presiding. Litigants have been sworn, Your Honor.
Thank you, Douglas.
You're welcome.
All right, Mr. Holly, you are suing Ms. Fernandez and Jordan Gaudet, you're the owners of the dog, for $944.53 in vet bills that your dog incurred as a result of their negligence, according to you. Talk to me and tell me what happened.
I was taking my dogs to a dog-friendly restaurant on June 27th, and we were going to find a table, and the defendant was the only other person with a friend at the restaurant sitting on the patio. And as we were going to find our seat, I noticed the defendant.
How many dogs did you have?
I had 2 dogs, Dakota and Sheba. They're both huskies.
Okay. And how you had 1 dog?
Yes, ma'am, a boxer.
A boxer. Okay, so go on.
And we were going to find our seat, and I saw the defendant struggling with her dog holding on a leash. She was barking at our dog.
Was she sitting?
She was sitting, yes.
Okay, and was she with someone?
She was with someone, yes.
Okay, go on.
And the dog got away from her. It was on a leash, but the leash got out of her hand.
How did that happen? Like, how quickly did that happen?
I would say about 30 seconds or so.
Okay. And during 30 seconds is kind of a long time. During those 30 seconds, what's happening? Are the dogs barking at each other, or what are they doing?
My dogs weren't barking. We were just going to sit at a table. And then her dog came over and got loose and grabbed Sheba by the neck. And Sheba was crying, and I had my hand in the dog's mouth trying to get it off of Sheba. And the dog bit me on the finger. And then somebody in the restaurant heard the commotion and came outside. I couldn't get the dog's jaws off of my dog. And he said he did something with the dog's nose or something, and the dog let go. And then he went after my other dog, Dakota. And I thought he had gotten her too, because she had blood on her neck. But when I took them both to the vet afterwards, the vet told me that Dakota's skin wasn't broken and the blood on her neck was from my finger.
Right.
And so then when we got home, we called animal control, and they came by, and they weren't concerned with what happened to Sheba at all. I sent in a picture. I have a picture of Sheba's neck. She had staples in her neck.
You feel like animal control wasn't concerned?
They weren't concerned about what happened to Sheba, but they were concerned about my finger being bitten.
Okay.
And so they looked at my finger, and I did show them Sheba's neck, and they told me that was a civil matter. So here we are.
Right. Did you ever have a chance to talk with her?
Yeah, briefly.
And what was discussed between you guys?
She said, I asked her why she brought that dog here because she told me the dog didn't like other dogs. And, you know, there's always a lot of dogs at this restaurant. And she told me that at the time she was there, she was the only one on the patio. So that's why she had come.
And did she say anything about paying for the damages?
She told me to, I got her phone number from the manager of the restaurant, and I texted her. And she asked me,
had she told you anything about paying the bills or no?
No.
All right, so did she give you her information at that moment before you left?
She gave it to the manager of the restaurant. She went inside the restaurant while we were diffusing the situation, and then the manager gave me her contact information, and I texted her later that night.
Okay.
And she told me to send her a copy of the bill, which I did.
And then what happened after you sent her a copy of the bill?
She texted me back that they were having problems and that she would be in touch with me in 2 to 3 months, and then I never heard back.
Okay.
But then her ex-boyfriend told me that her phone had gotten stolen or something and she lost my number.
What's going on?
Oh, first, this isn't the ex-boyfriend. This is my moral support.
This is, okay, he's not a witness at all?
Yeah, I just wanted to clear that up.
Okay.
You want me to?
Yes, tell me your side. What happened there?
So I went to the restaurant, and I actually used to work there, so I knew everything that was, I knew when it would not be busy. And it's not that he doesn't like other dogs. He doesn't like erratic dogs that go up to him like that. He's very shy. Recently, before that had happened, he had gotten attacked by another dog, and he didn't like that. And he was very, very, iffy about everything. And I brought them there when there were no other dogs there because of that, and it was pouring, raining.
Right, so. I know, but it is a public place, and
yes,
other dogs could appear magically,
yes,
right?
Ma'am.
So, go on.
We were actually just about to leave, and then I saw him coming up with his dogs, and I recognized him from the restaurant before, and I knew of his dogs, and they were, whenever I had waited on him at his table, they were always very hyper and jumping everywhere, and they would jump on me, and they would lick from his plate, lick from his table, jump on his table, so all over the place. And I saw them coming up, and I saw him, and I said, oh, wait. And I got down by the dog, and I was holding on to him by his collar and make sure he would stay there. He had a leash, and it was tied up to the pipe near the table I was at, and it was secure. But he was very strong, and when they came towards us, they smelled him and me, and he's very protective. He didn't like that.
When you say they came toward us, are you referring to his dogs?
Oh, yes.
His dogs come by where you and your dog are? And do they put their nose where exactly? How many inches from you?
I'm not sure how many inches, but very close, because they had a very long leash. The dog that I was with had a
So
short
they come
leash.
and sniff?
Yes.
They sniff you?
They sniff me
And they sniff the dog?
Yes.
But nothing happens at that moment?
No. The dog had sniffed them, and it was fine. But I think it was because they had sniffed me as well, and he was protective of that, and because they were really big. He's a medium-sized boxer.
Okay, but I'm sorry. He keeps walking, and he goes to his own table and sits down with his dogs, and that table's how far from you?
It was maybe 2 tables distance, but they had long leashes.
Okay, but they had long leashes, and what? The dogs are how far away from each other once he sits?
10 feet or so.
Okay.
10 feet.
So how does, when you say, oh, well, but the dog sniffed me, well, when the dog sniffed you, when his dog sniffed you, if in fact that happened, there's no dog bite occurring. This happens after he is past you, seated, and the dogs are secure by him, his dogs, and then your dog is supposedly secure by you. How does it happen then? How does the dog get loose?
He had a collar around his neck, and he actually, I didn't let it go. He pulled it so tight he was choking himself, and he pulled his neck through the collar.
Oh, so your dog really went after those dogs?
Yes, it's because...
Yeah, your dog really wanted to get there. Okay.
It's because they
Is it your dog or is it your ex's dog?
My ex's dog. I keep saying my dog because at the time we were together, so...
Yeah.
He was never legally mine.
Right, but he was in your control at that time.
Yes, ma'am.
So he can sue you as a party. Actually, he sued you, and Jordan is your ex-boyfriend, right?
Yes, ma'am.
And he gave you authority to just litigate this for him.
Yes, ma'am.
Was he at the restaurant at the time?
He was actually working there at the time, and the person that I was with, I had told her, hey, can you go get Jordan? And then she was like, okay, but she stood there in shock for a second, so I guess she didn't go fast enough, and she told me she went to go tell him, and he thought it was a joke at first.
Is he the person who got the dog to release?
No, ma'am. It was some other man. I actually don't know the other man's name that got the dog to release.
How long was the dog you were in charge of clamping on his dog?
5 minutes.
It's a long time.
It was a long time.
Yeah, 5 minutes is interminable for a dog attack.
Yes, it was. I'm sure it was about 5 minutes, but everything happened so fast that I think it was just going on for that amount of time. It was just very hectic, a lot of things going on at once.
Yeah. Oy, this is your finger? It's not too bad. Did you end up having medical attention for it?
I just went to urgent care and took antibiotics for 2 weeks.
Really?
Yes.
Yeah, well, because it was a dog, so that's why. Did they produce the rabies shots for the dogs?
The animal control called me and told me that they did.
Okay. These are your dogs?
Those are my dogs.
They are beautiful dogs.
Sheba
Which one's which?
Sheba's the white one, and Dakota's the one with silver on her. Sheba's the one that got bit.
This is Sheba.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, Your Honor.
And then Dakota, we thought got bit, but she didn't.
No, it was my blood that was on her, the vet told me.
So what, okay, so they put staples in. All right, and you incurred $944.53 in vet bills, and then what happens? You submit it, he submits it to you, and you don't pay, and what's your defense? Why do you think you don't have to pay a penny?
My defense was, at the time, I was with the co-defendant, and we were trying to work on doing it together, but then we had broken up shortly after that, and he and I had discussed it, and he said, oh, no, you don't have to help me, I'll pay for it and everything, and I was like, okay, fine, but we never got anything, in paper, because we were boyfriend and girlfriend at the time. We just talked about it face to face. So I had moved away, and I thought nothing was, in my responsibility anymore. We had already talked about it. I thought he was taking care of it, and that he didn't. I'm sorry about that. I had no idea he didn't take care of it until he had texted me and said, this is Thomas Holly with Sheba. I understand that you moved. And then I realized that my ex-boyfriend had given him my new number and where I had lived.
Isn't that grand? That's some.
Yeah, I had no idea. So then I knew exactly who had said it, and I was like, oh, wow. So that's how I knew.
Did you talk to your ex?
I did.
And what did he say?
He said, neither of us paid. Don't put that on me.
Neither of us paid. Don't put that on me. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So it wasn't a, oh, sorry about that. I had to put that on you. He was.
Any regrets?
I don't think he has any regrets. No.
No, I meant you.
Oh, regrets? Yes.
Oh, don't put that on me. Boom. He is kind of right because you were in charge of the dog, but it is his dog, so he doesn't get to wash his hands entirely. But you, in your answer to the complaint, you go on and on that this is really his fault because why? Why do you think it's his fault, though? It wouldn't have happened if he hadn't what?
Stayed at the table he was staying at, seeing that I was struggling to keep the dog in control.
So what do you think he should have done differently?
Maybe moved to a farther table, or maybe just stayed at the same table or pulled the leashes back until I was able to get a hold of my ex-boyfriend and tell him to come get the dog. And I was trying to handle everything, but I weigh more than the dog, but the dog is very strong. I was trying to keep a grip on him and make sure nothing happened because they were two really big dogs, and I knew something would possibly happen, but
You said that I told him to wait, and you did a sign like that. Did that happen? Did she tell you to wait? Or
I don't recall that, but the restaurant did capture this whole thing on video.
Do you have it?
And I don't have the video. I went back to the restaurant, and they said that they had a problem with their video system, and somebody came out and deleted the DVR, and so the video got deleted.
Normally what I hear from people on why I don't have it is because it records over itself. I don't think that's true anymore now when we have, when it's on the internet. But
and I also learned that day that the owner of the dog
happens to have worked there at the place that has the video that is non-existent.
I don't remember ever being served by her before.
Okay. I don't think that somebody else has to see you struggling to do what you have a legal obligation to do and avoid you because he should know that you're going to violate your legal obligation and lose control. I think it might be smarter, but he doesn't have an obligation to do anything because he expects you to do what you've got to do. He's doing what he has to do. The dogs are in his control, and you're not doing it. And I don't think that the fact that... Did your dogs have a 10-foot leash?
No, it's not a long leash.
Right, and your dog, clearly, the dog you were in control of, if it's too big a dog for you to handle, don't handle it. Don't be there, and don't be in public. And if the dog doesn't like other dogs, you should not, you who weigh 100 pounds soaking wet, should not be in charge of that boxer. And the boxer got out of the piece in order to go over there and do whatever it wanted to do, which was not say hello. So I am finding you and your ex jointly, because you're both being sued, jointly responsible for $944.53 in vet bills. We're lucky that it wasn't worse. Good luck to both of you.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you.
So the plaintiff prevails. He's going to get exactly what he wanted, the $944. Ms. Fernandez, you heard the judge, what she had to say. How do you feel about her verdict today?
I feel like we are still not solely responsible, and some responsibility could have been held in the plaintiff's hands as well, but everything is settled.
All right. Well, listen, that's the judge's verdict. You both have to live with it, and that'll do it. So thank you very much. The exit's on your left, all right?
Okay.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
Now, here comes the plaintiff, Mr. Holly. You know, I would ask him the very same question. Mr. Holly, you heard the judge's verdict. I guess my question to you is, don't you think it's always risky to take a dog or a pair of dogs to an outdoor restaurant like that?
I didn't think so at first, but I think now it is. My wife said I shouldn't have brought the dogs to the restaurant, and then, of course, Sheba wouldn't have gotten attacked. But I had brought them there. I bring them there probably 2 or 3 times a week before this happened. And there's always a lot of dogs there, and I've never had a problem. So, you know, this kind of shocked me. I didn't think this would have happened, but it did.
All right. Hope your finger heals well, and thank you very much. Okay?
Thank you, sir. Goodbye.
That'll do it. You're very welcome. All right, Harvey.
Well, look, Doug, this is a dog-friendly restaurant, but it is a public place. And as such, in a public place, in most cities, dogs have to be on a leash. And if the dogs aren't on a leash, then it is automatic negligence.
My son ended a business with a friend. They have a credit card balance in his friend's name. My son wants to pay his half of the balance as of this statement. But the friend says you're going to have to pay additional fees and interest on the balance because he can't pay his portion off.
Because friend can't pay his portion off?
Right. Yeah.
No. No.
I'm kind of a deadbeat, and I'm really behind on
so you're going to have to share in my deadbeatiness.
Right.
No.
So you got to pay the 22% income or APR on my...
If her son has the money to pay the half, that's his obligation,
right.
Then he pays the half. Have proof that you paid the half.
Right.
Don't just give cash to your friend.
Right.
Go ahead and you know, send half of the money and have a paper trail on it.
Right.
And then anything else that happens should be on the other guy. Because if he's the one who needs financing, he's the one who should pay for his own financing.
Right. The real question here, what really matters is, who gets those frequent flyer miles? You know? Come on, I want to get those cheap flights, right?
Curtindo podcast, né? Sabe o que você também vai curtir? Saber que o melhor flip de todos os tempos chegou. O novo Samsung Galaxy Z Flip 6, com Flex Cam, que tem zoom automático e faz selfies de 50 megapixels e com bateria estendida para nunca te deixar na mão. Vá a uma loja ou saiba mais em samsung.com.br. Samsung Galaxy Z Flip 6. Galaxy AI chegou.
This is the plaintiff, Michelle Hassan. She says her upstairs neighbor poured cocoa powder from his upstairs window into her air conditioner. Now the thing's fried. The cops looked at the surveillance footage and deemed the act intentional. And the defendants refused to buy her a new air conditioner. Some people. She's suing for $143.93, the cost of a new unit. These are the defendants, Dadna Soto and her son Sebastian Gilliard. Dadna says she wanted to cut sugar out of her son's diet. So she tried to give him a sugar-free cocoa powder, and he evidently didn't like it and poured it out his window so she wouldn't find out. The plaintiff is claiming her unit's now broken, but she tried to get it to blow cold air in the winter. And everyone knows you need hot air for an air conditioner to convert into cold air. They're accused of heating things up. the defendants have filed a countersuit for $1,208 for plumbing costs and emotional distress.
All parties, please raise your right hand.
Welcome back to the People's Court. Next case on the docket. The plaintiff says that her upstairs neighbor poured cocoa powder into her air conditioner and caused the thing to burn out. But the defendant says the plaintiff is claiming her air conditioning unit is broken, but it's not. It's the case of cuckoo for cocoa powder.
Thank you, Douglas.
You're welcome, Your Honor.
Okay, Ms. Lassane, you are suing your neighbors, Ms. Soto and her son, Mr. Gilliard, for $143.93 in damages to your AC unit. You have a counterclaim against her for emotional distress and a plumbing bill. Let me hear from you first, Ms. Lassane. What happened here?
Okay, on February 23rd, my daughter sent me a text, and she said, Ma, I was sitting here she was on remote at the time, doing homework in the classroom, and I see something come down and hit the AC. And I said, what? So I go looked out the window to look at it, and I excuse my French, I said, oh, hell no. Who did this? So I went over to the manager office, had the manager office. I said, this is what happened. I showed them the picture, and they said they're going to look at the camera and call me back. So because I said it came for either floor, the third or the second, I don't know. So they did, and they called me back the next day, and they said that they see where it came from, second floor, where the screen went up, the hand went out, and it dumped right into the AC.
That what was dumped in the AC unit? Cocoa powder?
Yes.
Okay.
So they was calling her for a couple of days. I guess they didn't get her. And when they finally did, they told her what happened. She came downstairs and knocked on my door. And I said, yeah, they was trying to get you because your son did it. They told me. And she said, no, he didn't. I said, yes, he did. They told me what happened. And I said, you know what? Just go talk to them. I'm not going to argue with you. Later on that same day, that evening, water was poured out on the AC, where you could see in the pictures where water splattered all over the AC. But this stuff that poured out earlier with the water is wintertime, all caked up inside the AC. So when I thought that it was
Who poured water? Who poured the water? Who poured the water?
I have no idea. You have to ask them.
How do you know that water was poured?
Because it was all on the window and all on the AC. That's why it turned brown cakey. See there? It's brown and cakey.
Okay. So she says, no, he didn't. You say, yes, he did. It's on the video. And what happens next?
So they told me I had to file a police report. So I sent the pictures that you have to the police officer. After he reviewed the pictures, then he went on the camera and he looked himself. He called me back. He said, ma'am, that looks intentionally. Do you want to press criminal charges? I said, no, I know them. I'll just, hopefully they'll just pay for it because if the AC doesn't work, they'll pay for it. Well, it didn't turn out to that. It turned into a big catastrophe.
Can I ask you a question? When did you finally try the AC to see if it worked?
One day it got a little warm, so I told my daughter to turn it on to see if it worked. She had it on, and I said, you know what? Let me check to see if the AC's cold, whatever, in her room. I opened her door. It's hot as heck in there. And I'm waking up, I'm like yelling and screaming, why didn't you tell me that this thing didn't work? You fell asleep and you in here sweating up a storm. It's hot.
All right. So do you ever confront her again and say, hey, when are you going to pay for this?
Housing talked to her again. And then what I did, I said, you know what? I'm going to do this. I'm going to have my son buy the AC for me. And I made a copy of the receipt after he bought it. And I took it upstairs to her. Still nothing.
All right. So what is going on, Ms. Soto?
In regards to the air conditioner, I actually received this paperwork April 21st, which was 2 months after the fact that this occurred. It has a police report attached. So the same day I received it, I did go down to her and I said, what's going on? What's this? And she said, your son broke my air conditioner. I'm like, well, are you sure? She's like, yeah. I said, does it power on? She said, yeah, it does. She said, it also blows out air, but it's coming out warm. I said to her, well, I have an air conditioner, and sometimes because, it's cold, the air from the outside converted to, the air on the inside doesn't come out properly. You know what I'm trying to say? Like, if it's cold outside, there's no hot air to be converted into cold air.
Right, but according to what you're saying, it is April now, not February. So,
right, right. But she said she checked it in February. She knew that the damages occurred in February.
And yet she knew, she knows it doesn't work, but she never knocks on your door?
Right, right.
I don't know. I'm finding that hard to believe. She doesn't look like the kind of person who'd take things lying down.
Yeah.
You two know each other before this, right?
I don't know her, but she is my uncle's ex, and they have children together. I know of her. I've never had, I never spoke to her. I don't
so it's a coincidence that you end up in the same housing building.
Right.
But your uncle has 4 kids by her.
Right.
Did your uncle have problems with her?
Yes.
Okay.
And I do feel like it may be a conflict of interest that she has with me.
Because she doesn't like your uncle?
Right.
Well, was there ever a problem before this?
Between me and her? No.
Yeah. Oh. All right. Has there been problems since then?
What's happening is a lot of problems, actually. Like, she's constantly harassing us. I have just a whole bunch of stuff. Like, she'll harass my children because of the air conditioner. Once in September when they were going back to school, she was saying, your kids, she was saying to Sebastian, oh, that boy right there, he's the one that broke my air conditioner. They owe me money.
Well, Sebastian, did you ever speak to Sebastian and find out whether he poured the cocoa?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's okay. Let's put Sebastian under oath, shall we? Sebastian, can you raise your right hand?
I already did, Your Honor.
Oh, you already did? Good. Okay, Sebastian, you're already sworn. That's fine. So you know you're supposed to tell the truth, right? Mm-hmm. Okay, can you tell me what happened?
So, like, the cocoa powder, that part? Okay. So, my mom bought a non-sugar added cocoa powder, and I was trying to make myself chocolate milk until I tasted it and it didn't taste that good. So then I decided to pour it out the window so my mom wouldn't know that I didn't like it.
So was it in a bottle or was it in an envelope?
It was like a plastic tube. No, it wasn't like a tube. It was like a square, a plastic square.
Yeah.
And it was like yellow, and then you could pour it out.
Oh,
like it had a lid.
Yeah, that's it. He has defined a Nestle's quick. All right, so you poured the whole thing out the window?
Yeah.
Why? Why didn't you just tell your mother you didn't like it?
Because then I'd probably get in trouble. Because she wants me to stay low. Like, she doesn't want me having that much sugar.
Right.
Even now.
Right. I understand that. But isn't she just going to go out and buy more and think you love it if it's missing?
Mm-hmm.
You didn't think that far ahead, did you, Sebastian? Say, oh, Sebastian loves this. Look, he drank it all. We need to buy some more. So, but did you see that you were pouring it on top of somebody else's air conditioner?
No.
Right. Yeah, that's kind of an important part. You need to look down and see what's down there. You could be pouring it on someone's head or a baby in a baby carriage, All right. Thank you, Sebastian, for your honesty. Ms. Soto, you have a counterclaim against her for $1,000 for emotional distress and for a plumbing bill. You're going to have to go into detail on the emotional distress part, because just telling me she harasses me isn't proving your case. You have to be very specific and tell me what you're talking about.
Okay. I was pregnant. I just had a baby. She's 4 months now.
5.
And I was pregnant September 28, 2021. I was walking into my building. Miss Lassane was standing in front. As soon as I entered the building, she decided to talk in tongues, chanting, when I came into the building. I'm religious, I'm Christian, and that kind of scared me. Like, I'm like, why is she doing that? And
why did that scare you?
Because she was talking in tongues, like blah blah blah, like I don't know. I couldn't understand it. It was scary. It was scary. I'm pregnant, 5 months at the time, and I have an unborn child, and people do voodoo and witchcraft, and I was scared. So that day I called the police department and I filed a harassment complaint against her.
You actually have a video of that, correct?
Right, I do have video footage. You guys seen that?
So this is you videoing her?
Right.
And then you're saying into the camera, can you believe she was harassing me like that? But she has her back to you. Like, what is it?
Yeah, I already entered the building. That I recorded after, because when I entered the building is when it began.
Can I say something?
No, not right this second, not in the middle of her testimony. Go ahead. I'll give you the floor to respond to her counterclaim in a moment. Go ahead, Ms. Soto.
Yeah, so I recorded it after I passed her up just so I can get that video.
And that's fine, but I'm not sure that entitling it video of her harassing me is accurate because I don't really see that there. I just see, I see her in, just leaning there and saying something I can't understand, but, all right, so.
Yeah, no, that's okay. I also have the police report also from that day.
Well, tell me, why don't you tell me about the harassment? Tell me what she did to you. You told me this story, now tell me others. Because you're asking for $1,000 for harassment, so I need to hear the story.
So Christmas, I actually was sick, and she called the police department over and said that we were making too much noise. I was like about to give birth. It was December 25th, and I was due January. And she called the cops to my apartment and saying that we were making a lot of noise, which we weren't, and I was sick.
Did anything happen with the police, or the police just went away?
Yeah, no, they came up and they was like, hey, Miss Lassane is saying that you guys are making noise. And I'm like, well, I'm actually very sick. We're not making any noise. Only my oldest is awake. He was like, okay, well, just, keep it down if anything. I said, okay.
All right, let me ask you about the plumbing bill that you're suing on. According to you, she should have to pay your plumbing bill of $208. Why?
The pipes are all connected. There's like one line. And when I moved in, I saw that in the tub it was clogged, which I have video footage of that, and I sent you guys as evidence. So they sent a housing worker to the apartment, and he said, oh, listen, whatever's down there, I can't get to it from here. I have to go downstairs and unclog it from downstairs. He went and tried to do that with no luck. Multiple times, about like 4 or 5 times, maybe like even 6 times, they came and tried to unclog it from upstairs with no luck because they have to go downstairs.
But I don't understand. You guys are in a housing authority building, so why don't you just tell housing that your plumber that you sent says X, so make sure, because the housing authority can make her give the plumber access. So it doesn't make any sense. But also, you said it's $208, and I'm looking at the bill. The $208 includes $182.
Yeah, that's
of other balance. What's other balance?
The other balance is all the times they came, but it's not separated. It's not separated. The October
How do I know that's what that is? This is just your bill from housing. Says unclogged tub, and it's only $26. It's not $200.
Yeah, that was. Yeah, no, the 182. That was the clogs.
Do you have any proof of that?
And then,
do you have any proof?
Yeah, well, on the bill, that's the only bill they gave me. Then the one for October.
Listen. You're suing for the bill, so you have to prove to me that there's $208 in plumbing bill. The document you gave me proves there's $26 in plumbing bill. Sebastian, leave your mom alone. She has to concentrate. Sweetie, leave her alone a second.
That one, the one with the 26, I didn't even allow him to come up. He came in and he said,
Okay, you're not hearing me. I need to see $208 in actual plumbing bills.
Well, that is it. That's
all you got? Because this isn't it. You know that, right? But you can see, you know that this doesn't prove that. This just proves $26, and it doesn't prove it's her fault. So I don't even understand. Look, stop. I don't even understand how there can be her fault. Because if she's ornery and unpleasant and she's not going to let you in, you tell housing, hey, talk to the plumber. And then housing takes care of that. I don't see how that would be your problem. And plus, also, you haven't proven $208 of that. And I know that they actually did unclog your thing. So I don't know if it's something they have to go down there or not. And if they do, then it should be easily done by the landlord of your building, which is the housing authority.
May I say something?
No, because I want to ask Ms. Lassane a question. What is the problem between you two? What is the problem? Does it have to do with your ex, or does it have nothing to do with your ex?
It has absolutely nothing to do with him. I spoke to him a month ago about this issue. He said to pay her no mind. He said it's disrespectful to me because I'm his kid's mom. He told me that on the phone. What happened on 9/28? You see how I was standing outside? I stand outside every morning to greet the kids. I'm like the grandma of the hood. To greet the kids and say good morning. People riding by, waving to me and all. I had a door stopper in the door. This girl is so terrible. She came out, she pushed it out and locked me out the building. Now, mind you, I'm in a robe with a nightgown, no keys, no no ID to get in because I had the door stopper because I'm greeting everybody. Not once have I ever said anything to her children. The reason why I started praying, and I am religious. I am a godly person. I started praying because when
I don't know. Neither one of you seem to be particularly godly about this situation, because you would kind of realize that somebody should act like the adult and just kind of move on from this and have peace in your home. Because if you can't have peace in your home, where are you going to have peace?
The things that she do, Your Honor, I mean, I've been putting up with so much. The things that she does intentionally, and I still act like I don't see her or her children. I don't say nothing to her or her children.
All right.
She is very
here are my
manipulative.
findings after listening to you. I am going to order the defendant and the son to pay the $143.93. The son because he did it, and the defendant because there is parental liability in a situation like this because the boy is in her house, and that's where she should be monitoring him, that he not do things like this. But I don't think it was done intentionally, certainly, but I don't care that you say, that the police say, that they think so. I buy the story I'm being told, but it doesn't matter. The fact of the matter is, if the AC doesn't work now, the AC doesn't work now, and it's due to this because, yeah, it could be other things, but this is the only thing I know happened to the AC. $143.93. On her counterclaim against you, I don't see evidence for a $208 plumbing bill, and it sounds like each of you are dishing it out to each other. I have a piece of advice for you folks. Unless you guys are enjoying what you're going through, and maybe you are, maybe you're the kind of people that enjoy this, just stop. Each of you make a goal to be the bigger person and just stop. Ignore the other person. No more back and forth. Good luck to you.
Thank you.
The plaintiff prevails. She's going to get the money for a new air conditioner, the $143 she was after. The defendant gets nothing on her countersuit. So, Miss Lassane, let me ask you something. Have you ever considered moving? How do you feel about that?
I'm not moving. They're in the process. I'm speaking on housing because I have other court cases in court that somebody has to go.
Well, other cases, they're not this one. This one you have prevailed in. You won the case. What do you think? How do you think she's going to respond now that you've won the lawsuit against her?
The same way she's been acting, mischievous and erratic, as usual.
Well, I mean, this is terrible. What can you do? How can you live like this?
Sir, my children are related to her. They don't get involved, but they're tired of it because she's calling me names. It's not right. She's very disrespectful.
Well, look, it's a terrible situation. I feel really sorry for you, and I don't know what you're going to do, but it looks like somebody's got to go. Good luck to you, okay? Anyway, congratulations. You prevailed in your lawsuit, and get that new air conditioner. You got the money now.
Thank you.
Harvey, what are your thoughts?
Doug, the laws on parental liability really vary from state to state. There are some states that say the parent is only liable if the kid commits a willful act. There are other states that say if it's a negligent act, the parent's still liable. But most states say that in certain circumstances, especially with young kids, there is a duty to supervise.
You've spoken a few times about having a home in North Carolina. Dying to know your opinions about the out-of-state speeding law, which can make a first-time offender lose their license for a minimum of 30 days. Is this fair?
North Carolina does have a law that says that if you get a ticket for speeding out of state and that state notifies their Department of Motor Vehicles, they can suspend your license.
Suspend your license for not paying the ticket?
If you're convicted of it. They'll send out a notice to you that you have 10 days to request a hearing or take an appeal or something. And if you don't do that, your license is automatically suspended for 30 days. But here's
for a ticket you already paid for in another state?
Right. And here's why. I understand why everybody wants to have safe streets. We don't want people speeding like maniacs. But here's where I have an issue with this. If I get a ticket, I'm a North Carolina driver with a license from North Carolina, and I get a ticket in California, my once-in-a-lifetime trip to Disneyland, let's say, right? Usually, you just pay those by mail. You get the notice in the mail, and you have a choice. I can have a trial in Sacramento, or which is
2 months from now, and fly back to California.
Right, at tremendous expense, or I can just pay the $200, whatever it is, and say, oh, well, forget about that. Well, That's the problem, because it could be a totally bogus ticket. You might have great defenses to the ticket.
Well, and I'm sure that there's those who would say, I did my time. I already paid that ticket. I took driving school. Why are you punishing me again? But the answer to that is that driving is a privilege, not a right.
Absolutely.
In any particular state, so they can really do what they want to do.
Right. But, you know, the problem is also the state has had another glitch with it that they're trying to work out, which is when they send that notice that you have 10 days, lately, it's been taking a week and a half to get to people. So by the time they open it, they're already driving on a suspended license, and they're past the deadline to request a hearing.
10 days is ridiculous.
It's too short.
It's too short with the U.S. mail operating the way it's operating.
They're trying to get a legislative fix with the legislature to bump it back up to like 30 days.
I just don't even see how they have the time to do this. This has to be so incredibly time-consuming.
Right.
Well, that'll do it for this session of the People's Court. We'll see you next time.